You've walked past places like this before. Abandoned buildings, dark alleys, that door just slightly too ajar. You tell yourself it's nothing. But tonight, let's pretend you're wrong. Tonight, you're him, the one who followed the woman in red, the one who stepped into room 309. And by the time this story ends, you'll check your phone at 2:17 a.m. and you'll pray it doesn't ring. I never believed in ghosts. Not really. Not until her. It was one of those sticky Mumbai nights where the air feels like a damp hand pressed against your skin. My friends had dragged me to Neon, one of those overpriced clubs in Lower Parel where the music is too loud and the drinks are too sweet. My phone had been acting up all evening, screen glitching, battery draining faster than usual. Rowan joked I'd picked up a virus from some shady site. I'd laughed, but now I wonder if it was already sensing her. I was about to call it a night when she walked in. No, appeared, because that's the thing about her. She didn't enter like a normal person. One moment the dance floor was a mess of sweating bodies. The next, there was space around her, a bubble of unnatural stillness. She was tall, too tall, wrapped in a red sari that looked like it had been stitched from shadows. Her hair was black silk, so perfect it didn't move even when the bass shook the room. And her face, God, her face. Beautiful in a way that made my chest ache. High cheekbones, lips dark as old wine, eyes that caught the strobe lights and held them, like they were absorbing the glow. But it was the way she moved that hooked me. Everyone else jerked to the music, clumsy with alcohol. Not her. She drifted between people like smoke, her steps too smooth, too quiet. Once, when the crowd parted, I caught a glimpse of her bare feet, pale, almost luminous against the filthy club floor. Then I saw it. Her ankles bent the wrong way. A cold prickle ran down my spine. I'd seen things like this before, fleeting, dismissed as tricks of the light. A reflection in a mirror that blinked when I didn't. A shadow that moved a second too late. But this was undeniable. I should have left. But her gaze locked onto mine across the room, and suddenly, I couldn't look away. She smiled, slow, deliberate, and raised one long-fingered hand, beckoning. And like an idiot, I went. The closer I got, the more the air changed. The club's sweat and perfume stench faded, replaced by something older, damp earth and crushed jasmine, with an undertone of something metallic, like a copper coin held too long in a clenched fist. Her fingers brushed my wrist as she leaned in to speak, and her skin was cold. Not the chill of AC, but the deep, unnatural cold of something that hadn't been warm in a very long time. "You're different," she murmured. Her voice was wrong. Too many layers, like multiple women speaking at once. A girl's giggle under a widow's rasp. I can taste it. I laughed, nervous. Taste what? She didn't answer, just tilted her head, and for a second, the club lights hit her eyes at the wrong angle. No pupils, just black voids swallowing the color hole. Then she blinked, and they were normal again. My legs trembled. "Run!" screamed a voice in my head, but my body didn't obey. It was like my muscles had been rewired to only move toward her. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Rohan. "Dude, you're talking to empty air. Get out, now." I looked back at the dance floor. Rohan was staring at me, face pale. Behind him, others had begun to notice, whispers, sidelong glances. A girl crossed herself, because to them, I wasn't talking to a beautiful woman. I was talking to empty air. The moment we stepped out of Neon, the city changed. Mumbai at 2 a.m. is never quiet, but the streets outside the club were too empty. No honking cars, no late-night chai vendors, just sodium vapor lamps buzzing like dying insects. She walked ahead of me, her sari whispering against the pavement. The red fabric looked darker now, almost black in the uneven light. "Where do you live?" I asked, my voice too loud in the silence. She didn't turn. Close. Her bare feet made no sound. Mine echoed. We turned down an alley I didn't recognize. Narrow, the walls streaked with stains that could have been rust or something else. The air grew thicker, warmer, clinging to my skin like oil. A stray dog whined and bolted past us, tail tucked between its legs. The alley stretched and stretched. The buildings on either side seemed to lean in, their windows dark eyes watching us pass. My pulse hammered in my throat, but beneath it, I felt another rhythm, a slow, subterranean thud, like the heartbeat of something vast. "This isn't the way to any residential area," I said, slowing. She paused, looked back over her shoulder, smiled. "It is my way." The street lights flickered. For a second, her shadow stretched too long, Too wrong. Not human, not animal, just a tangle of limbs and teeth. Then the light steadied, and she was just a woman again. My phone buzzed. Rohan, bro, your location's gone. It's just static. Where are you? I didn't remember leaving the club. Ahead, she stopped at a building I'd never seen before. 3 stories. The windows boarded up, the paint peeling in long, scab-like strips. A rusted nameplate hung crooked by the door. Room 309. You live here? She traced the numbers with one finger. The metal groaned under her touch. Sometimes, the door swung open on its own. Inside, the darkness pulsed. Something in me screamed to run. But her hand closed around mine, and her skin wasn't cold anymore. It was burning. The door to room 309 swung shut behind us with a sound like a tomb ceiling. I don't remember crossing the threshold. One moment we were standing in that decaying hallway, her burning hand in mine. The next, I was inside. The walls breathed. The transition left me dizzy. My vision swam. The room tilting like a ship at sea. I grabbed for the wall to steady myself, and the wallpaper shifted under my touch. Not peeling, breathing. The texture wasn't vinyl, but something alive, its surface slick with condensation. When I jerked my hand back, my fingertips came away sticky with a clear, scentless fluid. That subterranean pulse was louder here. And it wasn't just in the walls anymore. It thrummed under my ribs in sync with my own heart. Careful, she murmured from somewhere behind me. The house is sensitive. The apartment defied logic. From the outside, the building had appeared derelict. Maybe 3 rooms total. Yet this space stretched impossibly. A long gallery of doors branching off a central hallway that receded into darkness. The air smelled of jasmine and something acrid beneath it. The sharp tang of old wiring about to catch fire. My phone buzzed violently in my pocket. When I pulled it out, the screen showed battery, 6% time, 2:17 a.m., no signal. The last message from Rohan had been at 1:45. Dude, your location is just static? Call me, please. She plucked the phone from my hand with those 2 long fingers. You won't need this. Her nail, yellowed, slightly curved, tapped the screen. It went black, permanently. The lights flickered. In the strobing darkness, I saw. The walls weren't walls at all, but membranes, pulsing gently the floorboards at gaps. And something moved in the spaces beneath the armchair by the window. Wasn't empty. A shape hunched there, rocking slightly. Then the lights steadied, and the apartment was normal again. She guided me toward that chair with hands like ice and fire. Sit, rest. The moment my weight settled into the cushion, I understood my mistake. The fabric rippled beneath me. Not upholstery, skin. Something sighed contentedly against the back of my neck. And the window, I thought it blacked out. Now I realized it was a perfect void. No reflection, no streetlights, just an absence so complete it made my eyes water to look at. She knelt before me, her saree pooling like blood. Up close, I saw the truth of her beauty. Each pore perfect, each lash precisely placed. Too perfect, like a doll's face stretched over something else. You're seeing it now, aren't you? She whispered. Her breath smelled like funeral flowers. The last thing I noticed before the lights failed completely. The dates on the wall weren't graffiti. They were anniversaries, and tonight's date was already there. The moment the lights died, her grip became a vice. Cold fingers dug into my wrists like surgical clamps, pinning me to the living chair. I thrashed, but the upholstery, the skin, constricted around my limbs with wet, sucking sounds. My heartbeat spiked, but the apartment's pulse beneath the floorboards spiked with it, as if feeding on my fear. Then the whispers began, not from her, from the walls. A chorus of voices, some young, some ancient, all murmuring the same phrase in different languages. She chose you. The membrane-like walls bulged inward, forming mouth-like depressions that shaped the words. A wet click echoed behind me. The rocking chair creaked as its occupant leaned forward. I felt its breath, warm and rancid, on my neck. Don't look, the woman warned. But it was too late. In the pulsing dark, my eyes adjusted just enough to see. The void window wasn't empty anymore. My reflection stared back, except it wasn't mine. It mimicked my terrified expression a half-second too late, its smile stretching wider than humanly possible. When I twitched my fingers, it moved independently, pressing its palm against the glass. Her perfect features rippled, distorting like a reflection in troubled water. Beneath the illusion, something dark and segmented glistened like a cockroach's carapace. Her beautiful hair became a nest of writhing filaments. The wall markings bled fresh ink, today's date darkening as new numbers appeared beneath it. 2:17 a.m. The other dates now clearly formed a tally, one for each victim. I recognized one. June 14th, the night a college student vanished near Neon last year. His face had been on missing posters for weeks. When she opened her mouth to speak, her jaw unhinged grotesquely. The voice that emerged wasn't human. You were marked when you first saw me. The club was just the lure. This apartment, a wet chuckle. It's been inside you all along. The heartbeat under the floorboards synced with mine now, a grotesque harmony. I realized with dawning horror, the apartment wasn't just around me. It was in my veins, in my lungs, nestled behind my ribs. The chair's embrace became agonizingly tight as the thing behind me exhaled a sigh of anticipation. The last thing I saw before consciousness fled was my false reflection stepping out of the window, coming to claim what she promised it. I woke at dawn, curled in the bathtub, my hair bleached white. My lips were cracked, my tongue swollen with thirst. When I coughed, a something dark coiled in the sink's drain, a strand of hair. No, it twitched before vanishing. The doctor said it was shock. The police found no signs of break-in, but the paramedic who lifted me from the tub recoiled. Your skin, he muttered. It's cold. But every night since, at exactly 2:17 a.m., my phone rings. When I answer, there's just breathing and the sound of something dragging itself closer. Last night, I finally checked the caller ID. It says Emma, but when I played back the voicemail, the voice wasn't hers. It was mine, whispering from the static. And the call duration? 13 minutes, 13 seconds this morning. I found a new mark on my wrist. A faint, red line of numbers like a tattoo inked in blood. It reads 309. He escaped room 309. But the apartment? The apartment is patient. It's in his veins now, in the silence between heartbeats. And if you're hearing this, it's already in your head too. The next time her phone rings past midnight, remember, you listened, you followed, and now, subscribe before it hangs up on you.